It was one of those scorching summer afternoons in college when the air conditioning in our dorm was more of a suggestion than a reality. My roommate, Alex, a guy who treated life like an elaborate science experiment, burst into our room, his face flushed with a revolutionary idea. He held up a dusty, forgotten map of our state. "Dude," he said, pointing a finger at a tiny, almost invisible dot in the middle of a vast green area. "We're going here." I squinted. The dot was labeled Whispering Falls. I'd never heard of it. Whispering Falls, some new age spa. No man, it's an abandoned town. Legend says the whole place was just left. Houses, stores, everything. They say a waterfall nearby makes a sound like whispers, hence the name. My other roommate, Chloe, who was attempting to study but was clearly more interested in Alex's theatrics, peeked over her textbook. Abandoned, like spooky abandoned or historical landmark abandoned. Spooky, definitely spooky, Alex confirmed, a grin spreading across his face. There are no official records of it on modern maps. This, he tapped the old map, is from my grandpa's collection. It's a treasure hunt. And just like that, the Whispering Falls expedition was born. The three of us, Alex, the enthusiastic, slightly reckless leader, Chloe, the cautious, pragmatic voice of reason, and me, the ever-curious documentarian, always ready with a camera, were a team. The following Saturday, we packed Alex's beat-up sedan with more snacks than survival gear and set off. The first few hours were easy, just typical highway driving. But then, following the old map, we turned onto a gravel road that progressively got narrower and rougher. The pavement gave way to dirt, and the dirt gave way to a path that looked like it hadn't seen a car since Alex's grandpa was a kid. Branches scraped against the windows, and the car bounced over rocks. Cliff was gripping the dashboard, her knuckles white. "Alex, are you sure about this? My phone lost signal an hour ago." "That's how you know it's an adventure," he cheered, swerving to avoid a particularly large pothole. No signal, no rules. Finally, the path became completely impassable. We parked the car, grabbed our backpacks, and continued on foot. The air was thick and humid, filled with the buzz of insects. After about an hour of hiking through dense woods, a faint sound reached our ears. It wasn't a roar, like a big waterfall, but a soft, rustling sound. "Listen," I whispered, holding up my hand. We all stopped. It sounded like dozens of people whispering at once. It was eerie, but also beautiful. "The Whispering Falls," Alex said, his voice filled with awe. We followed the sound and soon came to a clearing. There it was. Not a town, not at first. Just a single, dilapidated wooden house standing at the edge of the woods. It was a two-story structure, with windows like vacant eyes and a porch that sagged sadly to one side. Ivy had claimed most of the walls, and the roof had a gaping hole. "Okay," Chloe said, her voice a little shaky. "This is officially creepy. This is officially awesome," Alex countered, already marching toward the front door. I followed, camera ready. The front door was ajar, hanging by a single rusty hinge. Alex gave it a gentle push, and it creaked open with a sound straight out of a horror movie. The air inside was stale and smelled of damp earth and decay. Sunlight streamed through the holes in the roof, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. In the center of the living room, everything was ... preserved. A dusty sofa faced a cold, stone fireplace. A wooden dining table was set with 3 plates and tarnished silverware. As if the family was about to sit down for a meal and just vanished. Who just leaves a table set? Chloe wondered aloud, echoing my thoughts. We explored the rest of the house. Upstairs, we found 2 bedrooms. One was clearly a child's room. A small wooden rocking horse stood in the corner, and faded drawings were pinned to the wall. It felt incredibly personal, like we were trespassing on a memory. In the master bedroom, on a dusty nightstand, we found a journal. The leather cover was cracked, and the pages were yellowed with age. Chloe, ever the respectful one, hesitated. Should we read it? Alex, unable to resist a mystery, gently opened it. The ink was faded, written in a looping, elegant script. It was a diary belonging to a woman named Elara. The entries started in 1958. She wrote about her life in this isolated house with her husband, Jacob, and their young son, Leo. She described the beauty of the woods, the sound of the falls that she loved, and the challenges of their secluded life. Jacob was a logger, often away for days. As we read further, the tone of the entries shifted. Elara wrote about feeling lonely. She mentioned strange occurrences, things moving on their own, whispers that didn't come from the waterfall. She thought the woods were playing tricks on her mind. Then came the final entry, dated October 31st, 1959. It was short and frantic. Jacob isn't back. The whispers are louder tonight. They're not from the falls. They're in the house. Leah says he's been talking to a new friend from the woods. I saw something in the trees, a tall shadow. We have to leave. We're leaving everything. We have to get Leo away from here. And that was it. The rest of the pages were blank. A shiver went down my spine. The set table, the toys, the clothes still in the closets. They didn't just move. They fled. So there's no town, I said, looking around the room. Just this house. Maybe this was the start of the town, Alex suggested. Maybe they were the first settlers, and whatever happened here scared everyone else away for good. We left the journal where we found it. It felt wrong to take it. As we stepped back outside, the sun was beginning to set, casting long, spooky shadows through the trees. The sound of the waterfall seemed different now, more menacing. Every rustle of leaves sounded like a footstep. The hike back to the car was much faster. We didn't talk much, each lost in our own thoughts about Elara, Jacob, and little Leo. Did they make it out? What was the shadow Elara saw? The mystery was so much deeper and more human than the ghost town legend we had chased. When we finally got back in the car and the engine roared to life, we all let out a collective sigh of relief. As we drove away, back toward the world of cell signals and streetlights, I looked back at the darkening woods. We never found the abandoned town of Whispering Falls. Instead, we found a single, forgotten story, frozen in time. A story of a family, of fear, and of a desperate escape. We went looking for a spooky adventure and found a real, heartbreaking mystery instead. And that, we all agreed, was so much better. We never went back, but none of us ever forgot the house where the whispers weren't just the water. Thanks for watching our story. It's a good reminder that the most compelling mysteries are often hidden just off the beaten path, waiting to be found. If you like stories about exploration and mystery, make sure to subscribe for more adventures. See you next time.